Welcome to another round of coffee and donuts. I'm Frank, former federal law enforcement officer. Now I'm the training director over here at Armageddon. I have 3 pre-submitted questions, and this is where we answer your questions to becoming a police officer. Let's discuss. Before we get started, if you want to leave a question for us to get to and for me to answer, you can leave any question you want on any of our social platforms. We start with YouTube and work our way from there. But if you want to leave your question and make sure that we get to it first, go over to our new blog at armagedonct.com. That's our website. Link is in the description. You can click on that, and down at the bottom, you can leave a comment. You can leave it anonymously. You can leave it through your Facebook profile. It's down at the bottom of our main blog page. And then check out our blogs. We're posting a new one every single day to help you with not only the police hiring process, but the academy, FTO, and the success in your entire career. Now, these are some good questions. Let's jump in. First one. So I've had Facebook and Instagram for over a decade. I'm 29 years old today, but I was about 13 or 14 when I created the accounts. I've always been mindful and tasteful with what I put out there, but that's not to say I haven't been a punk in the past or commented something stupid throughout high school and early adulthood. I've been considering just deleting my social media altogether because there's guaranteed stuff on there that doesn't reflect who I am as an adult now. Would deleting my long-term standing account be considered deceitful? I've already deleted things I do not use anymore, like TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter, due to those existing during a part of my life that no longer reflect my real character and now sit dormant. Okay, so recently we did a video about, cleaning up your social media and how your social media can reflect negatively on you. Now, here's the thing is look at law enforcement at hiring processes. You're already starting at the top of the ladder, right? So, you can kind of bump yourself up with test scores and with PT and board interviews, things like that. But you're already starting at the top. And then from there, they're taking marks off if they find things wrong in your background, if you don't do real well on the board. Same thing with your written and your physical exams. Social media is another way to get a lot of dings put on you. Now, for the purpose of this, you should never try to be deceitful, ever. Don't do it. Don't try to hide anything or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with deleting social media that you no longer use or that no longer properly reflects you. Now, at any point in time, though, you just understand that you're going to be asked these questions. A lot of times on the PHS, which is your personal history statement, your background packet, right? They're going to ask you questions is, have you ever deleted social media? And you'll say yes. Or they'll ask you questions, please list all usernames you've ever used, even for expired, dormant, or deleted social media. And you'll have to list those as well, right? So one thing that you really need to consider is the fact that just because you deleted social media doesn't mean that the comments you posted, say, on someone else's page aren't going to be there under that username. And if you do a real deep dive, which a background investigation does usually, right? If you do a real deep dive and you look into those usernames and posts that those usernames have made and things like that, which aren't too hard, it gets a bit technical, but aren't too hard to do, then you can find a lot of things that are still out there publicly. And that's what social media is. It's a public profile a lot of times. Yes, you can set it private, and everything you set private is private, but anything you put out there publicly, at that point in time, it still belongs to you, but you can only control the aspects of what you can control. So to answer your question, I don't mind you deleting things that don't properly reflect you. Just know that you will be asked about it, and they will question you, and if you lie about that, they will disqualify you, as they should, because you shouldn't lie, right? If I was going to say this as, hey, have you ever deleted social media before? I'd be, yes, I've deleted social media. What's the reason? I've deleted social media that I no longer use. I deleted social media that doesn't, reflect who I am as a person. And then you're going to have to articulate that. And they'll say, yeah, when I was a dumb kid, I put comments on there where I critiqued another person's comment or whatever, what have you. But yes, it's going to be on there, and you need to be honest about it when it's there. And then that way, what you're doing is not deceitful. You're just making sure that your current public image properly reflects who you are, because you're being honest when asked about it. And you need to be honest, because I promise you, they will find it. And when they do, you will get disqualified for omission, which means lying by pretty much not telling the truth, or lying by hiding something is really what that will be. But yeah, if you don't use social media anymore, get rid of it. If it doesn't properly reflect you, get rid of it. But don't go in there trying to hide things and think that you're not going to have to discuss it, because you will. They will find out, and you will be DQ'd through the hiring process. Not that that's you. I'm just generally for those listening. Okay, next question. I was given a conditional offer before my psych eval and just completed my home check almost 2 weeks ago. My investigator said I passed my psych eval, congrats, and told me to just wait for the higher-ups' approval. It's been a couple weeks now, and I'm getting anxious. Should I be worried? This is probably one of the biggest hurdles I see most people have, is this hurry up and wait. I know chiefs and sheriffs that will do a review on their hiring officials like one time every hiring cycle, which means it doesn't matter if someone's done the hiring process, in 2 months. They're like, great, you're still waiting for a final approval, and chief or sheriff doesn't do final approval until he or she's ready at 4 or 5 months, or until a month before academy starts, right? That's just not all the time. That's actually, I would say that happens less than 25% of the time, but it does happen. So you could be in one of those situations. There could be something else where they're not moving forward with you. I'm not saying that's the case. It sounds like things are moving good. The other aspect is a lot of times investigators don't want you to contact them. So they'll just tell you whatever that you think you want to hear, or whatever they think you want to hear, just so you'll leave them alone, including do not contact us, right? So at this point in time, you're kind of at the wait period. Here's my general rule of thumb if you need something to work towards. Wait until that 4 or 5 week time frame. Send a follow-up email on a Monday. Now, there's more to it than that, but hopefully that will get you a response. And when you send that follow-up email, make it about them, not about you. Do they need anything from you? Don't ask, hey, where am I at in the process? Any update? Don't do that. Doesn't reflect well on you. But yeah, you're in that hurry up and wait. And I've said this before, and I'm going to keep ringing on this for a lifetime. A conditional offer, while impressive and you should be proud of yourself, means nothing. All it says is like, we want to hire you, and we will hire you as long as you pass XYZ. But even this shows, I've seen so many people say, oh, my background's done, I got my conditional offer. Well, look at this comment. I was given my conditional offer before my psych eval and just completed my home check almost 2 weeks ago, which means they had their psych eval, right? And then maybe they had their home check before their psych eval, but I'm guessing, or maybe they got their conditional offer right after their home check. Either way, it sounds like maybe they had their home check after the conditional offer. But either way, you have all this, right? And maybe all you had left was the psych, and you're like, hey, I have my conditional offer, I'm good to go. Well, the chief can still sign off yes or no on this, right? Or the higher up approval. They can still tell you no. So that's a condition of employment, which means even if this is not what I'm reading from this, so don't get nervous or anxious on this one, but they can even just say no, not a good fit, and that's their prerogative, because that's the stipulations in a conditional offer. All right, think of a conditional offer, probation times 100. Right, you don't even need a reason to remove someone's conditional offer. You do, but there could be a multitude of them. It's not that it's not important. It is, and some departments don't even issue a conditional offer. It's just hiring process, final offer. Other places are like conditional offer, which great. That means, hey, we will hire you if you pass all this stuff and we like you. Great. Don't lean on that conditional offer like it's gold, because it's not yet. Not till you get the final offer and your start date. All right. Hope that helps. Love the video. So thank you. Keep up the great work. I will try. I currently live in Colorado for the last 10 years, but I'm filling out LEO applications in Alaska. Great. They need a lot of law enforcement up there. Where I'm back in Alaska, where I'm from, to move back home. Got it. Can't read. I'm filling out the PHS for some Alaskan positions, and wanted to do some prep on my personal and criminal background. Should I pull records for both states and disclose things that exceed 10 years minimum that the department is requesting? Thanks. Okay, so what I'm reading here is the department is only asking you a 10-year minimum on your background information, which is great. Provide them only the information they ask for, right? But understand, anything else in your background will and can come up. Okay, so if you've had a DUI, right, and say it was 15, 20 years ago, right, and you got a DUI, you're going to fill out, please provide 10 years of criminal history. But then when you get to the DUI question is, have you ever had a DUI? And you're like, wait, in the last 10 years or ever? And you have to make sure you're reading the directions. If you read one section and it says, please check off all the crimes or all the, let's say crimes that you've been involved in the last 10 years, right? And it has, petty theft, larceny, whatever, all these crimes. Then it goes to another section, and it says driving record, and it says, please list or please complete driving record information. That's a different section, and that directions from the section above don't apply to that. Now, if it says, please list all driving record information for the last 10 years, and you had a DUI 20 years ago, then yes, you would not list it. But you still need to be prepared to articulate it as it comes up. And the last thing you want to do is get blindsided by it. So they will pull your entire record. You can easily articulate, hey, why didn't you list this? Hey, based on how I read the directions, and it's not based on how you read, it's if the directions state that, by the way. So, but you would just articulate, after reading directions, I was under the assumption that it was just asking for 10 years of past history. It's easy. And then if they say no, be like, okay, cool, I can disclose XYZ, right? And you have that ready to go. So I always recommend that you get all the information in prep work that you can on yourself. Public information, background information. Companies that pull backgrounds for you usually don't have to go to each state to do it. Usually they can pull county and a nationwide search. But if you're going to do it yourself, yes, I would do it every place I've ever lived. A lot of times, though, when you pull state information, it may be limited. Sometimes you got to pull county. Backgrounds go deeper and are kind of ran different than what most people think. You got to do a county search. You got to do, and usually that starts off with your addresses, things like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. But yes, I would try to get as much information as possible. Now, I would not write anything down past what the directions say, because they want you to follow directions for a reason. So do not jump the gun. Be prepared to articulate everything in your past. Don't try to hide a single thing if they ask about it, but only provide the information that they're asking for. There's a reason why they have that on there, because that's what they care about. So make sure that that's what you're doing. There's a lot here. There's a lot more to that, but that should get you off on the right foot. Once again, I hope this helps. If you want to leave us a comment, we'd be glad to jump on and answer them. We answer all of them anyway, but you might get them here listed on Coffee and Donuts with me. If you want them answered as quickly as possible, we check our blog every single day. We check our socials one day a week throughout the week. There we go. And we answer all our questions there on all our socials too, as well as our contact cards on our website. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.